Konnichiwa, everyone. My name is Kenton Hornbeck, co-host of the BeckDeck Podcast, joined alongside Logan Decker. As always, Logan, how are you doing this week?
Doing great. Another wonderful weekend down in South Carolina. Too much rain, but that's all right. Just normal work week, man. Just waiting around, I think like everybody else, for some other sports to kick off. Watched a little bit of golf this weekend, but yeah, just big chilling, man. How about you? How was your week?
Week was pretty regular. I mean, I wish I had more to report, but just grinding through the week here on the weekend. Kind of a laid-back weekend, which is always nice. Don't really have too many social obligations. So other than that, the weather's been all right. It's been about 70 degrees here, 75 degrees. Not too hot, not too cold. Just been breaking in my new car, breaking in my new Birkenstocks, getting ready for fall to start. So that's always been nice. But we did have a lot of sports news this week. One big Woj bomb, or I guess you can't really call it a Woj bomb anymore. I'll call it a Shams bomb in particular, even though I don't know if he actually broke that news. But first, I want to get your quick reaction because you said you watched golf this weekend. Michael Kim got a 59. What immediate reaction to that? Because I saw it on social media. I was like, holy cow, because he went for it at the end there with that putt.
Yeah, Michael Kim's been on a heater this year. I feel like anytime I've just randomly put on golf on the weekend, or I'm out and about, I go to a restaurant that has TVs there and they got sports on. Kim has been super competitive this year, and he's been up there. And I thought, because I didn't get to see anything. I saw little bits, tad bits of like Scotty Scheffler finishing up yesterday, and he looked like he was turning it on at the end of the round. He had an incredible chip, but Michael Kim has been, I've seen him consistently be in the top 10 at almost every event, every location that he's golfed at. He's had a phenomenal year, and it wouldn't like he's going to be, especially because we are. Thinking about it, you look at next month, I believe it is the start of the FedEx, like the playoffs for the PGA Tour, and he's going to be a really interesting guy to watch. He's been consistent all year. He doesn't often put himself in bad situations, and he can make some incredible, some chips, some putts that we've seen throughout the year, but he's been doing really well, and I think it's a good thing for golf to have, because not only Kim, but there's a few other Korean golfers on the tour, a few other Japanese golfers on the tour. I believe Matsuyama was doing really well this weekend as well. And it's really good for the game of golf to have this international presence here, especially with, a few years ago with the LIV and them splitting up and most likely not letting any of those guys back in. You're getting some fresh faces in there, and this could be really good for the growth of golf. But no, Kim played extremely well. He's always a threat, no matter what event he's at.
Yeah, I saw it on social media, and to me, 59 just sounds so crazy. I can't
even imagine it.
Yeah. I always think about how hard it is for me to even break, like, 43 in a round of 9. And then he's out here shooting 59 in 18. So it's just insane to really think about. There's only been 15 golfers in the history of the sport who have scored a 15. Jim Furyk owns the record of 58. He shot that in the 2016 season. But the last person to do it before Michael Kim was Jake Knapp at the 2025 Cognizant Classic, Hayden Springer at the 2024 John Deere Classic, and Cameron Young at the 2024 Travelers Championship. Scotty Scheffler did it once at the Northern Trust, and then from there on. So there's been about 5 this decade. And, I mean, I think these guys are getting too good, almost, because there's only been, according to this list on Google Gemini, 3 golfers pre-2000 to ever shoot a 59 in, I guess, a PGA event or another official event. So everybody else who's done it has been from, well, it says 2010 on. There's been a lot more. So these guys just consistently get better and better. It's pretty wild to think about. So shout out to Michael Kim, great golfer, really cool professional accomplishment. That's going to be something you're going to hang your hat on for a long, long time. But moving away from golf now, we have some big NBA free agent news. The King, LeBron James. LeBron James has just signed with the, drumroll, Philadelphia 76ers. So we kind of batted around the idea of LeBron signing with the 76ers a few weeks ago on the pod. I thought it was pretty likely prior to the Jaylen Brown trade. Of course, I think I had Golden State above Philadelphia, but I thought Philadelphia was a likely destination, although once they traded for Jaylen Brown, I didn't think it was very likely at all. When I'm looking at this roster now, I think, who is going to actually touch the ball? I'm thinking about VJ Edgecombe, and he is a really, really impactful coming into a second-year player, sophomore, let's call him. He was, I believe, first-team All-Rookie in the NBA. Really, really nice player. How often is VJ Edgecombe going to touch the ball in this offense? And, of course, we have to also ask about Joel Embiid's knee and if that's going to hold up. His knees, his body. He's in his 30s now, and Embiid's a really good player, Hall of Fame player, former MVP, but health is going to be a key factor for him. Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey, that's your big three. I think Embiid's a little on the outside of that just because of his health personally. Even though he's kind of like a old sports car you have in the garage with some dust, and it's got a cover on it, and then you wheel it out, take it for a ride on Sunday, get that thing going. You don't want to drive it too much. You're going to put too much wear on it. Could break down. You got to send it to the shop. It's not worth it then. So that's kind of Embiid to me. I think he's on the outside of that big three. But honestly, I really like this move. I'm not a big 76ers guy. I don't dislike them, but I wouldn't say I think about them a whole bunch. They always have something seemingly going on over there in terms of transactions, whether that be James Harden, Ben Simmons, you name it. In the past, they had obviously the process, which netted them Joel Embiid. So they've been kind of a polarizing team in the past, let's say 10 to 12 years. Now I think this is their realist title hope team. Like, as far as any other team going back in the past, I think this is the team that has the best opportunity to win Philadelphia an NBA championship, something it has not done, I believe, since the 1983 season. So back then, that was Moses Malone and Dr. J. It's been a long, long time, everyone. And I think LeBron knew this. He looked at the roster, especially post-Jaylen Brown trade, and thought, hey, I'm going to be taking a step back a little bit. I'm going to have the ball in my hand. I'm going to focus a little bit more on being a power forward, playing inside a little bit more, maybe coasting on defense like he's been, being efficient from three, and also being more of a playmaker. And I think that's really what's going to unlock this offense, because LeBron's going to be able to hit Tyrese Maxey in transition. If they need to slow it down, he can get it to Joel Embiid. If he needs to get the ball out of his hands, he can give it to Jaylen Brown, who can create a little bit and also move off the ball. So there's a lot of options with this team. And, of course, you have Edgecombe in transition. Their bench is a little bit thin, but they got Dean Wade, other guys who I kind of like. So it'll be good. And I think what the 76ers general manager and ownership saw with the Knicks this year is the Knicks were a good team. They were arguably a great team, but they probably weren't the best team throughout the regular season. They had about a little north of 50-something wins. And they went on a heater and ended up winning the NBA championship, beating the Spurs. That was a very legit championship. And I think Philadelphia saw that and was like, hey, we got to make a move now. This is wide open. Anybody can win this. There's so much parity in the NBA right now that Philadelphia feels like they could, especially with the addition of LeBron and Jaylen Brown, siphon off enough experience to win a championship. I like this move for him. I think it's a basketball-focused move, which is something I criticized him for last podcast when talking about his Lakers tenure. I think I would give it about a 30% chance he could win a championship over the next 2 years. I'm not going to guarantee it. Injuries are a big factor. Health is a big factor. But I think this is one of the best basketball situations he's had in quite some time. So that was my immediate reaction. What about yours?
Yeah, it was one of those, we had talked about, like you said, a couple pods ago, where it made sense from a business perspective to stay at Golden State. And we talked about family situation with Cleveland. And at that time, I believe on the same pod, we were discussing where Jaylen Brown, either he had just got traded or the possibility of him getting traded or where he would go to. So Jaylen Brown comes in, and that a lot of people, I think, that did change a metric for is where's LeBron going to go? And I think for a lot of people, it moved the 76ers down on that list. But, in hindsight, looking at LeBron, first off, taking a 2-year deal, the $8 million, he basically took a large pay cut to be on this team. I could see this really working out with, you kind of already mentioned, where does he fit in this team? What is his role? Tyrese Maxey, he scored almost just under 30 points a game last year. Jaylen Brown is a phenomenal player, great defender. He's putting up 25, 26 points a game. He stepped up big when Jason Tatum was recovering with his Achilles. Joel Embiid, of course, when healthy, is top 3 center in the league. He's a monster, and what he can do. And like you said, hey, VJ Edgecombe is a very nice piece into it. Arfini Simmons, they do have a couple guys. Dean Wade. So for him, I think LeBron joined the 76ers because he does not have to be the guy. And there's a lot of extremely good players that are at multiple positions. And when I say that specifically, I think of Miami in particular, where it's like, hey, if he went there, it'd be him, Giannis, and Bam Adebayo. And I'm like, that's a pretty large front court right there. How would that role work out? Maybe LeBron carries the ball more. But here, LeBron doesn't have to be the primary scorer. He can be a facilitator. He can be more in the paint. He can still be a threat on the wing. Just let Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, they're going to be taking the ball up the court. Let LeBron basically be the facilitator. Let him be, I hate using this, but let him be more of a, it's not the same build, but a Tim Duncan type where it's like, hey, you are in the paint. Just get the ball around. If you can score at will, basically, but just keep the offense in motion. And I think that is a reason why he chose the 76ers, is that I don't have to be, maybe with other teams like Cleveland, he still wouldn't be maybe the guy, but he would still be a larger role. And that'd be the same, I could say, with Golden State. I think he chose this because, other players can do the heavier lifting for him. He has a more specific role. It has a chance, because of these superstars that he has surrounding him, that potentially the minute management for him and Embiid can be a better balance as well, to try to keep both of them healthy towards the postseason and letting the younger guys, Maxey and Brown, kind of carry maybe more of the workload throughout the season. So that's what I thought. I think also from a legacy standpoint, since we did just have a conversation about his legacy in the previous episode, is that, hey, this would be, if he were to win a ring, this would be the 4th franchise that he's won a ring with. I'm like, that is a pretty rare accomplishment. That's something that, if like, hey, if they're going to call me a journeyman anyway, what if I just become the best journeyman, kind of in this sequence? And if he were to win another ring, I said it last pod, if he wins another one, then I think that would definitely help him in this GOAT debate. And I think it's almost impossible. I think people still will do it. But this would be a nice send-off on LeBron's career if he were to win a championship this year. I'm sure that you saw some of the tweets that he put it on Twitter, where he basically shared with his audience, us, on where his thought process were and why he made the decision and how he's so close to retirement and he didn't know if he wanted to play anymore. And I guarantee you injuries probably played a part of that. I think my favorite quote that he's talked about his longevity is like, hey, imagine you're a race car and you've never changed the tires on it, and that's how he feels. And I'm just saying overall that the Philadelphia makes really good sense for him to play a really big role but also to manage his health and be ready for the playoffs in time. I think this was a decision for a ring, and this was a decision on what can keep me at my pinnacle, longer, or, make me feel like I'm not run down at the end of the season. Where can I get some guys that can really take the workload off of me? And I think Philadelphia made the most sense from that aspect.
I'm reading his tweets right now for anybody who is wondering. LeBron essentially said, quote, "I thought I was done when the season ended. I wasn't ready to announce it, and then I knew I needed some time to really decide, but I was pretty sure I played my last game. I was honest at that press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love this game. I still truly love this game, and I have more to give. The last few weeks have been really special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time just to think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out. This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What am I really playing for at this point? I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete to win and to have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship. I believe I can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team. And I am so excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time. Thank you, LA. Miami, I'll forever love, and Northeast Ohio will always be my home." End quote. So I really like this statement from LeBron. Everybody, including myself, has been critical of him in the past, but I think this is a really wise and reflects well on his character at this point in time. I think it's all about basketball. He admits that as much. I like, too, because, there's a lot of Cleveland fans around here in terms of Cleveland Cavaliers. That was a big team in this, whale hunt for LeBron. Cleveland, will he go back? Will he finish out his career with the Cavaliers, his hometown team, and win a championship? They've been really good in the regular season the past couple of years, come up short in the playoffs. They have Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, a lot of good players on that team. So why would LeBron not go to Cleveland? And to me, he had already closed the book on Cleveland in his basketball legacy. So LeBron didn't need to go back to Cleveland and win them another championship. He had already done the impossible. He had already lifted that monkey off the city's back and his back. He completed that task. To me, a retread with James Harden and Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell really isn't going to move the needle a lot for Cleveland. And I think Cleveland fans may have some rose-colored glasses on about the potential transaction of LeBron joining the team, because the team still has some holes, some noticeable holes. After Evan Mobley, they're pretty thin. They'd probably have to trade Jarrett Allen to get another really solid piece in that team's rotation. So I never really thought it made sense for LeBron to go back to Cleveland, even though you saw a lot of tweets and LeBron himself. They were playing golf with Max Strus and other guys on the Cavs. I just think he had closed that chapter of his life. He loves Ohio. He loves Northeast Ohio, but there was no need to run it back. He had an opportunity to really look into doing something new, and that's what he articulated in that statement. The other team, Golden State, seems like from all the reporting I saw that there was really nothing they could have. It just didn't make a lot of sense for Golden State, I think, in hindsight. And I was reading that in the Athletic, I believe that the Warriors are looking to move beyond the Steph Curry era. And while Curry is still on the team, and maybe they'll trade him over the next couple of years, we shall see, because Steph Curry is very much still one of the best 10 players in the NBA. While LeBron may be just outside that, I think Curry is definitely still a top 10 player when healthy. I think the Warriors ownership, Joe Lacob, wants to move beyond him and that kind of era in the team's history. And frankly, they've been trying to do that for the past couple of years with all of the draft picks that they whiffed on and they haven't really done a good job of building around Steph because they've been focused on getting young talent in the building, and then they go ahead and trade for Jimmy Butler, and they still got Draymond on the team, and the team just feels kind of, old and inconsistent, let's say. So I think LeBron looked at that situation and felt like, hey, I want to win. Like, there's other situations out there that are better for winning. I think Miami made a lot of sense. Actually, the Miami thing seemed to be pretty real. He has Giannis, Bam Adebayo. I think that team would have been a really good option for him. But at the end of the day, Philadelphia wins out. And I think LeBron wanted something truly new. He wanted a new experience. And that's what he's going to get. So I wonder, this is just how I'm thinking about it, but Philadelphia has a ravenous fan base. Philadelphia sports fans are arguably infamous. I wonder if it doesn't work out early, how they're going to react to this. And I actually think they may have a little bit of a soft spot for LeBron, but maybe that's me with rose-colored glasses, because when have Philadelphia fans ever taken it easy on somebody? But even if it's not working and LeBron's going out there and he's playing hard when he does play and he's not making a bunch of weird statements to the media, I think Philadelphia fans are just going to be appreciative that he chose to play there and give them LeBron giving that city the last couple of years of his playing career. So overall, I think some of the other teams, in hindsight, maybe we were drinking the Kool-Aid a little too much, especially with the Warriors and the Cavs, but Miami I think that would have been a good situation for him as well. Do you have any thoughts on any of the other destinations?
The one thing that I did hear, and this was from ESPN, I guess there were reports that Giannis, he wasn't being very public about wanting LeBron to be there, because apparently he had concerns about what the offense would look like, and maybe, I don't know if that's out of, a true on the floor coaching decision matter where it's like, hey, the spacing and my skill talent and LeBron's and Bam's, that's a lot of presence up there, and we just Miami got rid of a lot of pieces to get Giannis there. And so maybe it was from that. Maybe it was, hey, if LeBron is there, does he potentially overshadow me? Is that a thought process that he had? I'm not sure. It seems like, at least in previous encounters, that Giannis has always been very friendly and has always at least spoken like, hey, it would be really cool to play with LeBron. But maybe in this instance, for whatever reason, he said no. At least he told the leadership that, I am not interested in that. But, you can pursue it if you want. I think maybe a small piece, and I don't think this was a large impact, but LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, is also Tyrese Maxey's agent. And I'm sure that relationship between those players and Rich Paul being this connecting piece had an impact. At least made it crack the door open, or maybe got easier access. Or it seems like Tyrese Maxey and LeBron had already known each other, and apparently they had gotten along really well. I had seen a quote where they were, I don't know either one of them said it or would agree with it, but somebody had basically said yeah, Tyrese Maxey is like LeBron's little brother. That's like the relationship that they have. So there was already some connection between those two. And I think that definitely has an impact with, hey, Tyrese Maxey's already got his deal with the 76ers, and how Rich Paul works and the negotiating tactics and whatnot. And Rich Paul does a really good job with, and that's why he is the most notable agent in the NBA, is because he definitely is what does my players want? And I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. And this is what LeBron wanted. He picked this. Could he have gotten more money? Probably. But I don't think LeBron wanted to nuke this team, because I think that's his number one thing. He's like, I want to win a ring. I want to win one more ring before I call it quits. The Golden State situation, it does. This is a team that's trying to figure out when to do the transition. They know they need to make it, but they there's in a difficult spot where it's like, we don't want to get rid of Curry, but we're probably running out of gas on that line. But how bad are we? How bad do you think we're gonna be if we get rid of him? How many fans are gonna be upset? Miami is on its own destiny, and Cleveland, like you said, has already got a well-established roster, and they got a couple holes in there, and I think LeBron could have helped, but like you said, LeBron and his storybook, that chapter's closed. We talked about that, we could see him going there, but you're right. In hindsight, what does he have to gain by going there again? It's like, no, go to a new city, to a franchise that hasn't won one in a long time, where a whole generation of fans weren't even alive to witness it, for one of the most, explosive fan bases in the league, and cement yourself in another franchise history book. And, hey, this is a really good way to end your chapter book, your biography in basketball.
My last quick point I want to make is I've seen tweets about LeBron's decision from people calling it they're saying it's equivalent to Kevin Durant joining the Warriors to ring chase. And I want to say that, yes, this is a blatant ring chase. I mean, I'm sure LeBron would admit that. He is 41 years old. Why would he not ring chase? I don't understand who really cares about that at this point in his career. I mean, I would hope so. Is he going to go sign with the Kings and toil around and do nothing? And just, I don't get that point. So, yeah, if you are 41 years old and you're as good as LeBron James, I would hope you would be ring chasing at this point in your career. Otherwise, just retire. And that's essentially what he said. I don't have anything left to play for, but I really do want to win another championship. I want to compete still, and that's why he chose Philadelphia. Kevin Durant choosing the Warriors is a totally, totally different thing.
Yes.
Man was in the prime of his career. He had just lost a 3-1. He dropped a 3-1 series in the Western Conference Finals against Golden State, and then goes and signs with the team he lost to and subsequently wins multiple NBA championships in his prime, and teams up with arguably the best player in the NBA at that point in time, or one of the three best players. So you had the two or three on the same team, you know what I mean? Not including LeBron, is not the same thing. Also, LeBron's Heat decision back in 2011 is the precursor to Kevin Durant signing with the Warriors. I totally believe that. Anybody who says it's not is being disingenuous. That set the table for all of these big threes that we've had. Yeah, you could say Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, but it's not. That's a prologue to the decision. I think talking about a guy who is at this point in his career, a end of the all-star roster kind of guy, a elder statesman of the game, and honestly, LeBron's probably better than that. He's still probably one of the best 15 players in the league. He just is. But he understands his role. I think LeBron's going to understand his role. He's playing with a good coach, good players, young guys. I think it's going to be energizing for him. I felt like the end of his LA tenure felt really boring. It was like a treadmill for him almost. And he knew he was going to leave, but he was making all this money. And now he's sacrificed some of the money. Probably will sacrifice some of the playing time, some of the touches in order to win. And I'd really like to see LeBron do that. And I think this is, out of all of the decisions that he's made in his career about where to play. So there have been, 3, 4. He signed in Miami. He went back to Cleveland. He signed in LA. Okay, there's been 4. Now he signed in Philadelphia. This is the second most ethical decision that he's made, free agency-wise. The least ethical was the Heat, but it worked out. They all worked out for the most part. The second, the most ethical was returning to Cleveland and winning a championship. This is right up there. I can't put it above winning a championship in Cleveland and going back to your hometown, but I can say I felt like this was an ethical free agency decision from LeBron. Who cares if he's ring chasing? Let him have it. Philadelphia is not guaranteed a championship. They got a gauntlet to go through. They got the Knicks coming back. The Celtics are still pretty good. The Raptors are improving. There's a lot of great teams out west. So this is not going to be it's a super team and he's going to win. They're a very, very, very good team. They may have the best roster in the NBA or best starting five on paper, but I don't think this is a sure thing at all, and he knows that. So I just want to put a few degrees of separation between those talking points. I know it's a little bit of a troll take to say it's equivalent to Kevin Durant signing with the Warriors, but at this point in his career, I think we need to just kind of drop that and let it go. I know his fans online are going to be really annoying, but that's kind of where I feel about it.
Yeah, before we move on to the next topic, this just popped in my head a little off script. What do you think was more damaging for LeBron's legacy? Was it post Mickey Mouse ring Lakers, or was it Heat losing to the Dallas Mavericks in the finals? Which one was more damaging to his legacy?
I'm going to say the most damaging to his legacy was the post Mickey Mouse ring Lakers, and here's why I say that. I actually think LeBron losing to the Dallas Mavericks in 2011 helped his legacy. And let me explain what I mean by that. I think LeBron played the villain that year, and he went out there and played terrible in the finals. He looked human. He did not look like LeBron James. I think after that, even though people really hated the Heat, people started to empathize with him more because he really let himself down. He let the team down. He just dropped the ball point blank period against a veteran team who was just playing harder and gelled better and, whatever. So I think him coming back the next year with Miami and winning that championship and avenging the prior loss is a big part of LeBron's legacy. He threw the monkey off his back. He triumphed in the face of adversity, even though, with the caveat, he signed with and essentially created a super team with some of the best players in the league. I also think, even though the Heat were probably the best team on paper in the league, after that first Mavericks season, I think people understood there were holes in the roster. They were thin at the center position. Their bench was a little weaker. They were signing a lot of older players who were maybe at the back end of their career ring chasing on some cheaper contracts. Yes, that did work out for him, Ray Allen being a famous example, but I think the Lakers' tenure is worse because it's largely forgettable. LeBron was just kind of operating as a celebrity basketball player as opposed to just a straight up world champion basketball player. And the forgettableness of his post Mickey Mouse ring career really damaged, I think, the legacy building he could have done if he was on a different team or had perhaps won more. So that's my answer. What do you think? What's your pick here?
I think I agree with you because, he did get a ring in Miami. I just think that, and to be fair, that Dallas Mavericks teams, the teams that they beat on the way to beat Miami, you had, the Thunder, you had the Lakers, you had, I don't remember who they beat in the first round off the top of my head, but that Dallas team was that was just a team of destiny at that point. Dirk was just on another one. So it's one of those things, it's yeah, they did beat the Heat, and the Heat should have absolutely won that on paper, but the Mavericks beat all these other teams in their series that they should have lost to on paper as well. So you could say yeah, they lost, but they beat a lot of other really good teams on the way. But I agree with you in terms of the Lakers era was just so ew. I don't know, just unmoving. And the fact that just going to the bubble, as soon as they won the ring, it was just the loudest people in the room was also the majority to be that's the Mickey Mouse ring. Does that count? And guess what? You're just going to have people, you still have people today, you're going to have people decades from now being that's an asterisk, And that's just not LeBron haters. That's just people hey, you changed the scheme of the NBA. There was less games played. It's a different environment. I'm like, this is out of the normal. You have to put an asterisk on it. Not even trying to be like a, F LeBron situation. I don't think that's what it is. But yeah, just as a whole, in terms of the teammates that he had with Anthony Davis, Luka, and just some of the other, those are the big names. I'm not talking about Reeves. I'm not talking about all these, Kuzma's was there. He had plenty of players, and he churned over this roster so many times to get one, to advance to the playoffs one or two times to the next year. Like, that was it. Very disappointing. I think if you would have given the Lakers fan base, like, here's a magic ball, to see what your future lies with LeBron James, I think they would be extremely disappointed with the outcome. And they probably are extremely disappointed with it. Because whenever LeBron comes in, it's always this magical thing. You're going to go on this run. You're going to build this super team. And it kind of fell flat on its face with it.
It did. LeBron on the Lakers always felt very plastic to me. It felt very manufactured. It felt very forced. It never felt super authentic. It was always a weird pairing. And I think it was probably not a good thing, let's say, but I think it works out for both. Let's say LeBron wins a championship with the 76ers. I think it works out for both the Lakers and the Sixers, and LeBron specifically in that instance. It allows everybody to kind of move on. The Lakers did get the ring, but now they're not beholden to LeBron's whims. They can kind of hand the team over to J.J. Redick and the people that run the Dodgers and create a team that they feel like is a true representative of Los Angeles basketball, spearheaded by Luka Doncic. And then LeBron, on the other hand, he can, if he wins a ring with the 76ers, he can move past that accusation that I leveled at him that the past couple years have just been a forgettable nothing burger, and end his career on top and put a crown at the end of his basketball career and legacy. I think that would be the best case scenario, but it always felt very manufactured and forced, which is why the Kobe talking point is so prevalent.
Yeah, I think you just hit it spot on there. So also this week, in terms of sports news coverage, is literally the Sports News Network, the largest one in the nation, if not the world. And they came out with another round of firings. And I want to, preface this by kind of saying what was the lead up to this, because for some people it might have felt like it was out of the blue. However, based on the history of ESPN, this was always coming. This just felt delayed, and I'm going to tell you why. So back in August of 25, this is when I think the biggest thing that you can see of is that they were having a non-binding agreement to acquire the NFL Network, NFL Red Zone, NFL Fantasy, in exchange for 10% equity stake in ESPN that is held by the NFL. This, I think the biggest impact that people saw, if you were huge NFL fans, was that it was NFL Red Zone. Everybody was worried that was going to be impacted. That was the biggest thing on social media. But basically, the network would own the digital rights for NFL Plus, NFL.com, NFL Films, all of that. So a lot of people are worried about ESPN changing things or just putting something in the vault. The deal was finally finalized in January this year. It was approved by U.S. government regulators. And basically, they had integrated all of these NFL Network employees into this option. So basically, ESPN acquires this, but they lose 10% of their company in this merger, and you have now more employees. So it's like, well, do the math. If I just spent money to get this, and now I've added 30% of my employees, unless I make this, ridiculous amount of money right now within these few months, we're going to have to let the people go. And what has happened over that is that, hey, like I said, completed in January, we are now in July, is that a large round of firings went off, and variety of different names, whether it was just talking heads or longtime anchors and analysts. It is, depending on, because at this point, it's all about sports personalities. That's where it's evolved with ESPN, and honestly, with any sports media at this point that you listen to, and you don't listen to specifically, I don't watch ESPN, I listen to Max Kellerman, or I listen to you listen to the individuals and their podcast, or maybe their segments, or whatever it might be. In terms of the names that have at least come out as of now, and I'm sure there's probably some more in there, these are just some of the bigger names, is that Ryan Clark, which you can make the argument is probably the biggest name that was involved in this firing. You have Carl Ravik, you have David Lloyd, Cam Newton, which was a little bit of a surprising one just because of how recently he was brought on, and it seemed like he was rising up to the top very quickly. You have some old-time favorites, Charles Davis and Tom Pelissero. Pelissero is the one that hurt me the most on that one. Bart Scott, Andreas Hale, Dan Hajutke. And I'm sure the list will grow. So, and first of reaction, it was just like how these people, these analysts, kind of build themselves and brand themselves out. The reaction to this was based on the individual commentator on this. That's how I felt like everybody responded to this, like, oh, I loved Ryan Clark, or I hated Ryan Clark, or, Charles Davis was always so boring. But like, Charles Davis had his hand in all this stuff with football that I felt like he was too integral for college and NFL and Fox and all that stuff throughout his time. So I'm going to give you the space on, like, hey, what was your reaction to these firings? Did it catch you off guard? And is there anybody, a couple names out of this list that you want to talk to that you wanted to be, why were they fired? Or, their impact on you growing up watching sports, or just now in this modern element of sports analysis?
I would say that some of the firings did sneak up on me. I wasn't necessarily shocked, however. The first one, and the big fish, like you were saying, is Ryan Clark, 10-year veteran of the ESPN network. I think Ryan Clark really built his brand on football analysis primarily, but he would also venture outside of that and touch on cultural issues that made him a polarizing figure in the national sports media. Some people really respected him for that. Other people really would take offense to some of his critiques and takes. I think Ryan Clark generally did a ham-fisted job of touching on cultural issues. I think he had maybe some insight, but he was bad at describing them, and it ended up having some pretty awkward moments, some other moments that would give him put a target on his back to allow people to criticize him, and I think that added up over time. Ryan Clark became more trouble than he was worth to maybe some of the executives in that building. He did build his own media brand outside of ESPN, Pivot. I actually think, and I've heard this take before, I'm pretty sure it was Brandon Perna of That's Good Sports, that he is better on the Pivot podcast than he is on ESPN and as a football analyst. I know we've had Stephen A. Smith go on his own platform and criticize some of his bosses at ESPN and essentially have Ryan Clark's back throughout this whole ordeal. He was calling Ryan Clark, in Stephen A's opinion, the best football analyst out there. I totally disagree with that. I think it's one thing to have Ryan Clark's back. It's another thing to call him the best football analyst. I think I'm not going to go rattle off a bunch of names. Ryan Clark was a very good football analyst. I think he maybe should have leaned into that more, but I think Ryan also was building his own personal brand, and he didn't want to be boxed into just football analyst as a title. And so with that decision, there became some drawbacks that emerged. There was also some positives. He probably was able to garner a bigger salary. He was making about $2 million a year. The other thing that looms like a white whale in all of this is Pat McAfee, who got a big pay bump. I think he makes around $60 million a year. ESPN licenses his show from Pat McAfee himself. Pat McAfee is, in effect, in my opinion, the face of ESPN now. Stephen A. Smith is probably the legacy face of ESPN, but Pat McAfee is the day-to-day sports fans face of ESPN. He's in he's got a show. He's involved with the, I believe, second channel simulcast of some football games. He's big on College Game Day, which is a marquee show for the network. That's probably one of their biggest studio shows of all time. He's got a lot of rotating cast characters that come through his regular show, and he got all the guys on his crew who are also on the show paid. And so if you're going to pay Pat McAfee $60 million, some of the other talent is going to miss out on that. And I think effectively that's what happened here. You don't have enough money left over, in my opinion, for a Ryan Clark or a Tom Pelissero or a Charles Davis or a Stephania Bell or a David Lloyd. So it's unfortunate, but that's kind of the way the business is moving. One thing I want to talk about really quick with Ryan Clark is the interaction he had with Peter Schrager, who is one of my favorite media personalities and is one of the best analysts in football, in my opinion. And you do not have to be a player to be a good football analyst, former player. And that's kind of where I'm going with this. And it's not Ryan Clark's takes on race that rubbed me the wrong way, although I certainly disagreed with the way he described some of them. It's not his takes on politics necessarily. What I didn't like about Ryan Clark is that the specific interaction that he had with Peter Schrager, I feel like gave us a lot of insight into the way he felt about his job and the way he felt about commentators and journalists encroaching into the athlete space of football analysis, which they feel they have a unique lane to occupy. And they do primarily because they played the game at the highest level. They won Ryan Clark won Super Bowl. So that, that shouldn't be traded for, just an observer's analysis necessarily. But I think this moment I'm talking about, Ryan Clark, I think it was last year, told Peter Schrager, frankly, a little disrespectfully, that he didn't really know what he was talking about. I'm paraphrasing, because he didn't play, and he didn't play in the NFL. And Peter Schrager pushed back on that and said, "Ryan, don't belittle me like that. I can provide good analysis without having being a former player." And Peter Schrager was 100% right. Ryan Clark then went on to make his point, and people really criticized Ryan Clark on Twitter after that. Clips have since emerged of D'Angelo Hall, former Steelers and Panthers running back, doing a similar thing to Kyle Brandt, who's now, I believe, going to be on ESPN, formerly of Good Morning Football, and Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt's former co-host, who was also on Good Morning Football, telling, D'Angelo was, doing the "you didn't play" kind of, what do you have to say kind of thing. And I think they both pushed back on that. I thought that was really unprofessional of Ryan, especially for somebody who I think carries himself more so as a professional and less of a bombastic figure. They say whatever you want about Ryan Clark, but he wasn't always having the hottest takes out there. He wasn't going above and beyond. I thought his football analysis was generally very sound and accurate. So for a guy who didn't carry himself like maybe a Kendrick Perkins type character, I thought it was a little unbecoming of him, because I think it was a mask slip a little bit. And I don't think that's who Ryan Clark necessarily is. I just think it was unprofessional, and it was disrespectful to people who are in this space now. Like, and I'm not saying we're that, but like we know, you played high school football. I never played football. I only watch football. I know it from a fantasy lane, but I'm not a fantasy expert. There's a bunch of ways people can interface with professional sports now to provide analysis. It doesn't have to just come from former players. And oftentimes, I feel like what we see from former players is pretty lazy analysis. I'm not painting with a broad brush. I think a lot of former players are great analysts, and we could rattle off a million of them. I mean, we could be here all day. But there's also a lot of players who are in the media now who do get paid to talk about the sports, and they are not very good, and they do give lazy analysis, and they do give bombastic takes, and they become more take merchants than analysts. And sometimes people like that on the air, and sometimes people don't. I'm not a big fan of that. I want sound, reasonable analysis from my sports analysts. And so I think guys on YouTube, like Brandon Perna, like us, like all the 5 Points vids, those guys. Everybody has a different lane. You can have a fan's perspective. You have people who are, more on the data side of it, who never played, that give good analysis. People on the fantasy side of it. So to sit here and be like, only former players can speak on XYZ issue because we were in the locker room, we played, I think is just a bad way to, give football analysis, frankly, because you are alienating literally every single other person in the audience who did not play in the NFL. And it's hard to relate to a guy who played in the NFL because I'm a 5'8" white dude. I didn't play in the Super Bowl, so I don't want my media figures talking down to me through Peter Schrager about how we don't know what we're seeing. And I think it's just these guys don't necessarily think about that. And the other thing is, when talking about the former player thing, and I kind of got a little sidetracked, but what I wanted to hit on is, it used to be there were player analysts, but there were also, the sports media was dominated by journalists, former journalists. You had the sports reporters, a lot of former news anchors, people who hosted Sports Center. They were from the TV business. They were not necessarily from, the sports industry. Maybe they were on a local TV station and got elevated to Sports Center in the late 80s and the 90s and got hired, and they were anchors primarily. And now, as the media landscape has changed, you've seen some of those people exit the business or get laid off. I think now player personalities have become a big thing, and people also know that the mystical, what does the player think kind of view from the fan is not as novel as it used to be, because all of these players have their own media platforms. And, frankly, from where I'm sitting, a lot of them don't have very original takes. They don't have very good takes. They don't have very thought out analysis. It's usually just them riffing. And that's cool if you want to be a personality, but if you're going to sit here and act like an authority on the subject, and then I can go get what I feel like better analysis from somebody who didn't even play the game, I think it makes you look a little ridiculous when you want to lean on the player thing. So that's kind of my rant. If every player is going to be in the media, not everybody is going to be as willing to give you a pass when you play that card, when you're not performing your job at a high level, because there is a way to do your media analysis at a high level. I want to talk about some of the other people really quick, because Karl Ravech, that was a big one for me. Baseball fan, I love Karl Ravech. Karl Ravech, I believe, did some Little League World Series coverage. He also was the face of Baseball Tonight for a long, long, long time. He was the voice of baseball for me on ESPN for my entire life. And to see him laid off after 33 years is pretty devastating. I think Karl Ravech will get picked up somewhere else, or maybe he'll retire, but I think he had a great career. So I want to pour one out for you, Karl, for us baseball fans, really holding down the fort. And it's really a shame that ESPN has decided to go away from baseball. I know that there's a lot of people upset about this, but honestly, I don't want ESPN to be involved in baseball. I think ESPN has done baseball a disservice. I think it's contributed greatly to its decline in popularity, besides baseball's own, role in that. But I think ESPN purposely went away from baseball. They elevated other sports. And so I don't want my favorite game to be on a network that is just going to ignore it and treat it like a third, fourth option. And even if that's what it is, I think you can go other places now with the internet. You can go to Fox if you want it on broadcast TV. You can go to podcasts and YouTube, and I like that more. And as a baseball fan, that's what I do. I don't want to hear Stephen A. Smith talking about baseball, because he doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't want to hear him talk about it. And frankly, he doesn't really know what he's talking about on some other sports too. I'm sure a lot of football fans would say that, and UFC fans. So, in terms of some other guys too, I saw that David Lloyd was laid off. It may be a less big name in this, but man, I love those SportsCenter and ESPN News anchors. I remember a lot of them. One of the most famous ones was Sage Steele. She started off as an ESPN News / SportsCenter anchor. I used to watch ESPN News religiously every day before school. It does not exist anymore. It was 2:07 on DirecTV. I would not watch SportsCenter. I would literally watch the highlight channel, ESPN News. And a lot of these people, like Josh Elliott, who I think is on ABC News now, David Lloyd, longtime anchor on the show. They're just moving on from SportsCenter a little bit. They're moving on from these anchors, and it's really been a transformation of the network. Now it's more personality focused, like you were saying. Cam Newton said this on his podcast after the firing. I believe it was 4th and 1 is his podcast. He didn't seem, maybe I didn't watch the whole clip, but I don't think he had any bad blood. He said it was kind of the business, but he said sink or swim, kind of. Cam Newton's going to be fine because Cam Newton built his own personal brand, and that was good for Cam Newton. And so if you don't have your own personal brand, or you're starting from behind, if you want to talk about sports, if you want to be in the sports media, and that's kind of the landscape we're in. Pat McAfee is the highest paid guy in sports media because he started his own brand, and then his brand got licensed by ESPN. And I would not put it past ESPN to start licensing other content from maybe some creators that we had seen on YouTube. Brandon Perna, these kind of guys, I think they could be next up in this. And so it's a really exciting time for content creators. And that is one thing that gives me a little bit of hope, not for me personally and you personally, but for the industry, is I'd like to see those guys elevated. Those are the people who I think, yes, I do think it needs to get back into sports journalism a little bit and have that and more sports analysis, but I want those guys to do well and be elevated. So ESPN, I don't really love what it's become right now. I am a little bit hopeful for the future, but you never know. It's a long, far cry from 2013 with my boy Bill Simmons. What do you think about Ryan Clark, man? I know I went on a big rant there. I had a lot of stuff, but I had to get that off my chest because
that's all right.
To me, sports media has always been very important to me. I arguably like sports media more than sports. So,
it's something that if you watch sports at any point, ESPN and sports media has been a part of your life and still is. To a degree. Maybe it's not the same format, maybe it is, but you are listening, you are watching because, hey, slow times of the year like this, you're trying to prep, you're trying to know what's going on in training camps with football, NBA free agency, all this. Something is always out there, and you're going to find something to listen to because many Americans, me and you, everybody that listens is passionate about sports, a sport to some degree. And you're seeing... Let's start off the Ryan Clark thing. I think Ryan Clark, I would agree, like, I have nothing against Ryan Clark. I think he was a solid analyst. Like you said, he had spread his kind of wings in multiple different directions with politics and and I think some guys can get away with it. I don't know if Ryan Clark was a big enough character or basically guy at ESPN to do that, like so many other, like Stephen A. Stephen A. can does what he wants because Stephen A. is, you feel like, half of that company at this point. So he can do what he wants as long as he doesn't go wild and go crazy and do something that's would get the whole company in trouble. But, in terms of, let's just say going into, because I think that's the biggest thing that popped up on social media was people talking about specifically the Schrager thing, the Schrager incident, where he had called him out. I'm not going to sit here and rehash that, but I think it's one of those where it's like, hey, how do you build, in my eyes, how do you build this perfect sports network team? And I think ESPN some other networks are kind of like, they're still trying to figure out how to combat the social media aspect of it, where it's like, you mentioned Brandon Perna. If nobody knows who he is, go look him up on YouTube. He's got 900,000. He's closing in on 900,000 subscribers. He puts out some amazing content. He actually, and I'm sure you just saw recently, that he actually was on ESPN with Mina Kimes. So I could see ESPN being like, hey, we need to, instead of producing our own audience, what if we just bring in other people who already have an audience? And I'm like, well, that's actually a really smart play, because that's essentially what you do with Pat McAfee. And a lot of people, I'd say Pat McAfee, I like him. I enjoy many segments of his show. His drafts specials are amazing. I think a lot of people don't see the full side of Pat McAfee and what he does in terms of, I'm like, hey, if you don't enjoy college football, I think you're missing half of what Pat McAfee does for the network, because him on game day, he's listen, he's a great personality fit. His interactions with Nick Saban is hilarious. What he does, and just for entertainment purposes on game day, is huge. Because of his background, and basically the people that he has around him as his best friends, a lot of them from high school, is that he has a unique environment and he has connections that maybe other guys don't have. How many other people could have Aaron Rodgers on once a week for like 3 years at this point? Like, only he could pull that off. And he has connections to pull some special things off. So I would say, hey, you brought up the licensing thing. It's like people are mad at Pat McAfee because he got more money. I'm like, he doesn't work for ESPN. He's licensed by it's this partnership deal. This is not a ESPN owns him situation. To a degree, yes, but this is a unique situation. He is not employed by ESPN. He's contracted by ESPN, if you want to be technical about it. But the point I was trying to make originally is that there will be, I don't know who it will be network-wise. I don't know entirely. I do think it's possible, but it has to be somebody with some deep pockets in order to pull it off, or a very special small group and organization that has the right people at the right time, where it's like, hey, yes, you do need some player-based analysis. You need journalists. You need data specialists. And I'm like, you know what nobody ever does? Nobody puts them in the same room together to have a conversation on this. It's always, let's feed the sports, let's feed the journalists these statistics. And I'm like, yes, that is definitely what the journalist does. But I'm like, imagine if you could have a unique perspective in a room of what's like, hey, we have a multi-sport or multi-year champion in this sport with a lead journalist and somebody who has founded their own like research. Can you imagine, like, if I think I brought this up to you before, like, it's called RAS. It's basically a statistical analysis for the combine for guys that compete, to see how they roll as an athlete in separate different categories to show their, let's just say, their athletic potential. People who maybe overachieve for their size, their weight, and it can help as a predictor tool. And you bring this person in with a former NFL player and somebody who scouts for the combine, and a college representative, or so. We don't have that yet, where it's like we have one person doing multiple roles. And there are other people doing the work, they're just behind the scenes. And I'm like, what if we just get all these people in the room together and we just let them have the conversation, which is, oh, it's a podcast. It can be a TV show. But if a network can figure out how to get all this information in one spot, instead of having me and you and everybody else try to go to different people to figure out different things, and it's like, oh, if I got to look up stats, it's this. If I want to learn more about the combine, it's this guy or this group. I'm like, if you can put it all together, which ESPN used to do when they just controlled it with broadcast TV, with cable, because nobody else could do that on social media. They lost the ability to do that, and now they're chasing trends. So if somebody can find a way to put it all together, they're going to be at the top of the mountain. They're going to be on this gold mine. But right now, everything is so diversified and spread out. I do think in the future soon we'll see this conglomerate of potentially, you said, like, hey, 5 Point Vids, the group that they get together in. I'm like, they got something special, but they're quote unquote small time. But those are the type of guys that, with just like me and you, they have this huge fan base. They use a lot of data. They know a lot of guys. They interact with a lot of smaller people in the industry that maybe don't get the note. Or I'm like, this is an interesting group, and every single one of those guys or people like them have a chance to get their foot in the door in these, let's just say, major outlets and networks now. I also went on a rant there, but I think you know what I'm talking about, where it's like, hey, there's this, I'm just going to call it YouTuber sports analysis, where we all do it. we all have several people on YouTube that we follow that provide much more entertaining content than what ESPN, than what Stephen A. Smith, than what your internet personality or your network personality does. And I'm like, something's going to happen here. Somebody's going to get this bright idea who's got deep pockets to pull this all together, and then they can dominate the space for it.
I really like 5 Points Vids and Perna and all of the guys who were involved with
Urinating Tree.
Urinating Tree. I used to watch Urinating
that does the
Tree's
Packers.
videos. Yeah.
I
used to watch his videos all the time. They became a little, I mean, I'm not throwing shade at all. I stopped watching them because I felt like they got a little repetitive for me. But that's why people like them. And I hope that ESPN takes a chance on one of them in a Pat McAfee type way. Not a, we're going to buy you out and own you, and then you can't. I think that's where, like you were saying, what Pat McAfee has been really good for the industry is that he kept creative license over his product. And that was what's so important. So going forward, if you're a content creator or somebody with an independent show, and ESPN or Fox or CBS or NBC wants to use you on their network, they contract you. Another big famous example of this is Barstool at Fox. I don't really know what the numbers are, but they have their Wake Up Barstool show on FS1, I believe, and they have some other shows licensed to be on FS1, Fox Sports 1, produced by Barstool. But they get access to Fox's airwaves. And you're seeing this a little more. McAfee and Portnoy and Barstool, they were arguably the biggest in terms of the online media sports space. So hopefully now it can become even more diversified down. I mean, another big example of this is Pablo Torre finds out. Pablo Torre, former ESPN employee, he used to be on PTI and Around the Horn a lot. Now he started his own podcast a couple years ago where he does really in-depth sports journalism and sports reporting. The New York Times Corporation, they, I think, have a similar deal with Pablo where all of his content is published on The Athletic, which is the sports site run by the New York Times. It's a really big sports journalism site. So this stuff is becoming more common, and I think that is good. The democratization of sports content. And first it was this existed in its own silo outside of the mainstream media. ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC. Now, because of the attention moving from traditional television to the internet, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, whatever, you have these companies changing their models to go where the attention is. And the attention is all online. And these guys who have been doing this content creation for a while are going to be the beneficiaries of that. They are going to be thrust into the mainstream. But what I hope happens is more and more people get that opportunity, and it gives people kind of creative license to find niches in the sports market. I think that is the best way forward. These institutions have, the walls have been breached, kind of. When you are leaning so heavily on Stephen A. Smith, I think there is a clear issue. Even if you're leaning super heavily on Pat McAfee, there is an issue. Not because there's anything wrong with Pat, but it's like, okay, we have these two guys whose shows are First Take and the Pat McAfee Show holding up the network, and then everything else we're kind of scrambling because it's all live sports rights. But the content game is huge, so how do we fill in those gaps? And I think that's what they're looking at doing. And so if they're able to shed salary in order to find more opportunities for this content licensing, I think that's probably the way forward for them. Another big ESPN story that maybe went a little bit under the radar is Bussin' with the Boys. Former athletes Will Compton and Taylor Lewan got a licensing deal, or maybe even ESPN just bought the show. I'm not exactly sure, but they're going to be on ESPN, I think, going forward. which was pretty big news. You know, Portnoy, he is very polarizing, but what you can't say about him is that he did not have a very serious impact on sports media in the way it is today. And you have guys like Pat McAfee, who is a Barstool alumni, Bussin' with the Boys, Barstool alumni. They are now on ESPN. I think it is very interesting, to say the least. You have former ESPN guys like Ryan Russillo working for Barstool right now. So it's fascinating. It is a little sad to see the old ESPN and the way it felt as an institution go, the way it felt like when it was on top of the world and you had everything there. They were talking about baseball, basketball, football, hockey, football, college basketball, the tournament. They had all the draft guys. They had the documentaries with 30 for 30. They were everywhere. They were omnipresent, and they had a little bit of a following on social media too. Now that's the institution has been broken up some. The reputation of ESPN has really taken a hit, especially with I would say, starting in the first Trump administration, probably like 2016 onward. A lot of people turned it off, and I think they were really concerned about how to pick up market share once again. I think like renting other people's audiences is the best way they think they're going to do that, because live sports rights only continue to get more valuable. So the content is where their next focus is. And that's really all I have to say on this. I love ESPN. I've always loved it. It's really interesting to see how sports media has changed. And I think this will be something we're going to be following going into the future.
Absolutely. This is not going away. There'll be changes, maybe more firings, maybe, like we said, the licensing is probably the most interesting thing, because I think the fact that they've done that, and then potentially, hey, Bussin' with the Boys, that's news to me. I'm like, if they did the same thing, I'm like, they could be onto something here. They could be onto something. All right, we have one more segment, and last time we did the deal or no deal with the NFL. This time we have, I'm going to pull it up, a magic wheel that basically will randomize a spin for a current NFL franchise. So the game and premise, and I'm sure people have seen this before, is that we're going to spin the wheel. The first game that we're going to play is let's say it spins and it lands on the Los Angeles Rams. We each get to pick a player from the Rams to fill out certain spots. Quarterback, running back. We have 2 wide receiver spots. Tight end, a individual defensive player, a defense as a whole, and a head coach. Because I'm the one that came, I didn't want to say I came up with it. That's not true. But I brought it up as an attention. I figured it would only be fair if Kenton, when I spin this wheel, will get the first pick, and we'll kind of do a snake draft. So he picks first, then I pick. I spin the wheel again, then I pick, then he picks. And you've got your notepad. I've got basically a doc pulled up. That way I record these, and we can post the results, and maybe you all can tell me or Kenton that we're idiots and whose team is better and whatnot. So I think this could be a fun exercise that a lot of people we've probably seen online do, especially with reels. But you know what? It might be copying, but this is fun. I enjoy it. I watch every time one of these pops up, no matter who the entertainer is, because I'm a team building freak, and that's how it works. Kenton, do you have any questions on the game?
No, let's do it. I'm ready to roll.
All right, so I made sure to turn the sound off so nobody's eardrums explode, which is nice. Spin, spin, spin. And this is for current team only, I should say. Okay. Los Angeles Chargers are our first team. You leaning any way with this one? Tell me your thought process here.
I think the obvious pick would be quarterback, although they do have some really good defensive players too. You could also go Jim Harbaugh with this. I think their offensive skill players are a little young and unproven. Maybe in 2 years, Amarion Hampton would be a great pick for this type of activity. I think I am going to go Jim Harbaugh with this.
Okay. I don't blame you at all. Okay. What I will do is I'm going to take him at my wide receiver 2 spot, and that's Lad McConkey. I'm a big Lad McConkey fan. I think he's going to have a great year this year. I know last year Keenan Allen kind of took the lead role, but I was very excited to see what he did in his rookie year. I think he's going to step back into rhythm and get a lot of targets. I'm very happy with him as my wide receiver 2. Very underrated guy that I think is going to pop off this year and be a bigger name for the fans. All right, let's spin the wheel.
Here we go.
Ooh, I like it.
Denver
Broncos. And I get the first pick here. I'm going to take the defense as a whole on this one. I thought about just taking Patrick Surtain, but hey, I could just have the defense and add somebody else into it. So I'm happy with this pick.
Okay, so for me, I think you just foreshadowed who I'm going to take is Patrick Surtain. I'm looking through their depth chart right here. The only other person, I know he's my favorite guy of all time, Courtland Sutton. I would die for you, Courtland Sutton. And then I'm also seeing Jalen Waddle here, who that was a big move this offseason. But I think going with one of the best corners in the entire league is probably the safest play here.
I don't blame you. All right, spinning again. And I believe you went first. I went here. I don't remember if I said snake or you get it here. You get it here. We'll just go back and forth.
Bengals.
You get the bungholes.
Okay. So I could go quarterback here, and I think that would be conventional wisdom. However, I have to go Jamar Chase here, who I believe is personally the best player in the NFL, or excuse me, best wide receiver in the NFL.
I was really hoping that you would just take Joe Burrow and I could have Jamar Chase, but that's okay. I'm going to take Joe Burrow then. I think that's, I like Chase Brown, but I think I can get better. I like T. Higgins, but I kind of already took my wide receiver 2 spot.
But you like Courtland Sutton more, right?
You know what? You can die on that hill. I don't know about for me. But hey, I'm happy with the team so far. Let's spin. I will go first now. Show me what we got. We've had some pretty good teams so far. Gotten lucky. And as soon as I say that.
Here we go.
I wish this was last year, then I could take Myles Garrett and put this on the team. Oh, boy. I'm going to take... Man.
This is tough.
I'm going to take their tight end. I'm going to take Fannin.
Okay. So that was a good pick.
I like him. I like him. He was a very surprising rookie tight end last year. He took the job from Njoku. It seemed like even when he came back. I think he has a bright future. He's probably... I think he has higher upside than any Cleveland tight end that's been there the past probably 10 years, 15 years.
All right. This is tough for me because I need a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, tight end, and a defense. And I'm thinking maybe taking the whole defense would probably be the best move here. They do have some good players like Jared Verse, Mason Graham going into his second year, Denzel Ward. So they have guys, Tyson Campbell, Quincy Williams. I don't think that would be the worst pick. I think looking at their other positions, we have Denzel Boston, we have Casey Concepcion at their wide receivers, Jerry Jeudy, who I am not a fan of. And then running backs, we would have Judkins and Dylan Sampson. Judkins coming off injury. I think he was really good last year, but it concerns me a little bit. And I don't know if I want to rely on him at running back. So I'm going to go ahead and take their entire defense here.
Okay. I don't blame you. Play safe. See if we can get another stud. You get the first pick on this next spin.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Oh, good heavens.
Yeah.
All right. We got the Carolina Panthers here.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. So the Carolina Panthers, led by our dude, Bryce Young.
Yeah, all right. I'll lock him in
No. They are pretty weak at a lot of the key positions I still need. Gosh. I would say,
I think you have one of two options in my mind here.
unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to go. Wait, one second. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Tet McMillan here.
I don't blame you.
Not bad as a wide receiver, too, but I think he's a little overrated, personally.
Man. I think I'm just going to take one of the best defensive tackles in the league as my individual and put Derek Brown right in the middle. Good luck running against the team. I'm not upset with that pick. Because I'll be honest, I'm like, I don't know who's going to be the running. Like, it's going to be, everybody's talking about Brooks making a comeback this year. They're really hyping him up in camp. I like Jalen Coker. He's not going to be my wide receiver one. Their head coach, we'll see, kind of deal. I like him, but let me just take the known player here, what I can do here. All right, spinning is my pick. Oh, don't get me back-to-back Cleveland. This is pain. I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to do re-rolls, or do you want to keep it and suffer? Okay.
Re-roll.
I should just remove the choice after his pick. Oh, well. We'll do that next time.
It's really weighted towards this side. Have you noticed that?
All right. One more. I'm going to remove it.
It really wants to give us Browns players.
They're like, you can suffer. Okay, we got some new. Oh, your team. Okay. Oh, it's my pick? That's exciting. Well, I'm going to take Jonathan Taylor and be happy about it. One of the best running backs in the league. He had a phenomenal year last year. Slowed a little bit down when Daniel Jones went down, but man, I've never, he probably was the running back that had the most stacked boxes against him last year, and he still just performed. He's still got a lot in the tank. Dude's a machine. I think he is, in terms of the NFL landscape, he is underrated with how phenomenal that he is.
I like the Taylor pick. I love Jonathan Taylor as a player. I'm going to go Tyler Warren, entering his second year for my tight end position. Tight end, notably pretty thin across the league, but we do have some good young talent entering the league and also entering their second and third season. So I'm pretty excited with the Tyler Warren pick. I think he could do some more this year.
Yeah, that was a good pick. I mean, waiting out on tight end, that worked out pretty well for you. All right, round and round we go. I've learned my lesson to remove teams.
Is it my pick first?
Yes, it is your pick first.
Sweet.
Son of a bitch.
Give me Josh Allen. Go ahead and give me Josh Allen, Haley Steinfeld's boyfriend. I think Josh is arguably the best quarterback in the league. I genuinely believe that. He's going to be entering a new stadium this year. That's exciting. Buffalo, unfortunately, always comes up short in the playoffs, but Josh is a great player, and he is a future Hall of Famer, and he's the modern-day John Elway. So I love that pick. Yep.
All right. At least from what I'm looking at on my team, is I have a wide receiver spot left, and I have my head coach left. I'm going to gamble, and I'm just going to take Joe Brady as my head coach and hope that I get a true wide receiver one, because I would not have been happy with DJ Moore as my one. What spots do you have available? Remind me.
Running back is my last position. So here's my roster, everyone, so far. Logan can give you his. At quarterback, I have Josh Allen. No running back yet. Wide receiver, Jamar Chase. Second wide receiver, Tet McMillan. Tight end, Tyler Warren. Defense, team defense, Cleveland Browns. Individual defensive player, Pat Surtain. And my head coach is Captain Khakis, Jim Harbaugh.
Captain Khakis. All right, my team so far is quarterback, Joe Burrow. Running back, Jonathan Taylor. Wide receiver 2, Ladd McConkey. Tight end, Harold Fannin. Defensive individual is Derek Brown. Defense is Denver. Head coach, Joe Brady. All right. One more spin. And I believe I get the first pick on this one. Oh, stop! No! We already rolled them. I really wanted Detroit. All right. One more time. One more time. Let's see. Oh, God. Who do I take? Give me Marvin Harrison Jr.
All right, Marvin Harrison Jr. I guess I'm going with Jeremiah Love to round it out, which, hey, he was a top 5 pick, so it remains to be seen how good he'll be. I do think he'll be pretty good, so I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, I can't really complain. I got. You can make the argument: top 5, top 6 quarterback, top 5, top 6 running back. Not in love with my wide receivers. I like Ladd McConkey, but not Marvin Harrison as number 1. I'm fine with Hannon. Love Derek Brown. Love Denver's defense. We'll see about Joe Brady. I mean, it's tough to screw up when you have Josh Allen and ensemble with you. But yeah, looking at your team, I might give you the edge just because of your wide receiver power.
Jamar Chase was a big, getting Josh Allen and Jamar Chase is huge. Pat Surtain's huge. I think also what helped was getting the head coach off my board early, getting a guy like Jim Harbaugh. The rest of the dudes are all kind of projections. You're projecting out on the Browns defense without Myles Garrett. Same thing with Tet McMillan entering year 2, Jeremiah Love entering his rookie year, and Tyler Warren entering year 2. So a lot of potential, a lot of talent, but we don't know how they're going to produce in their second year. So I really like my team, and I don't know why it kept trying to give us Bengals, Browns. I mean, we were hovering over that 5 different roles.
They know what area we're from. They wanted us to fucking pick Iosova and
that's right.
just go into depth chart.
All right. Also, in the comments, let us know who you think had the better team.
All right, I have a redemption chance here. I know. Hey, let everybody decide. I know whose team I would pick on a blank slate here if you had no name card. Anyway, we're going to do this at least one more time, and this time we are going to do all time. Kenton, did you want to add any other positions, individual places? Do you like where it's at?
I like where it's at. I mean, we could always do punter, but I think other than that, it looks pretty good.
Okay. So I'm going to go first this time since you went first on the previous draft. Okay. So ready for the spin. I will remember to take them off as I go. Oh, let's see.
Dude.
All right.
Close.
The Cowboys. I think I got to take the rushing leader all time. Just put Emmitt Smith on the team here.
All right. So Dallas Cowboys all time. Unfortunately, we're not picking offensive linemen here. I would have really liked to get.
That's why I wanted to give you the chance to be like, do you want to take O-line as a group or linebackers as a group? And it's like, we'll leave it. We can mess with that another day.
That would have been really nice for Dallas. Let's see here. All-time Cowboys. I'm going to stay away from the quarterbacks, even though they are really good. I'm probably leaning toward. Head coach. Also, we could have Tom Landry. We could have Bill Parcells, who I'm probably not going to take, but
I think.
And then Jimmy Johnson. You know what? Oh, this is tough though. I can't waste it. I'm going to take Deion Sanders here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all with that pick. Good pick.
That's a tough one. They got a lot of. That's a deep one.
All right, you are going first in this next pick here. Ooh. Oh, it snuck over.
All right, give me Aaron Rodgers.
I knew you were going that way.
I like this.
I want everybody to know that Aaron Rodgers is Kenton's favorite quarterback ever since he put his foot on the camera for Pat McAfee and company.
Delicious.
I'm going to take. I was talking about this guy the other day with somebody, and he doesn't get enough respect. I'm going to put him at my wide receiver 2. And you might laugh, but I'm going to take Donald Driver.
Huh? No, he's a great player. Respect to Donald Driver. All right.
I can always get another receiver here. All right, let's see. I'm back on the clock going first. Please don't go to Detroit. It is Detroit. Okay. All right. Give me. Oh, you know what? I don't even know why I'm hesitating here. Give me Megatron.
And give me Barry Sanders.
Barry.
All right. I like where I'm at right now.
You are on the clock.
Okay, coming off the Lions.
Let's see.
Oh.
This is an interesting one.
This is an interesting one. Okay. I could go with one of their vaunted old defenses. I could also go with their owner, Dan Snyder.
Yeah.
He's a really good coach. Good owner. I think where I'm leading, I can't even talk anymore. It's late in the day. I'm going to take Super Bowl winning head coach Joe Gibbs.
Fuck, dude. I literally had him almost penciled in. Shit. All right, that's fine.
You could take Steve Spurrier.
You know what? I'm gonna take their defense, one of the historical defenses, just as a whole. I'm fine with that. They've had some phenomenal defenses in their franchise history, so cool with that. All right, back to me. I can't believe you took my head coach. Oh, let's see. Ooh, stay.
Oh!
No! Yes!
All right. You got lucky there.
Give me... Man.
This is
I feel like
one.
I can get another head coach. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes here.
Okay. I'm going to take Tyreek Hill.
Is this your first wide receiver?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, fuck. I could have taken Kelsey. You know what, though? I'm fine.
I was going to say, I was surprised. I thought you would have taken Kelsey. I'm like, man, it's going to be tough to beat him in that tight end spot.
I football love Tyreek Hill.
The Jets.
Man, this is a...
So if I'm tracking this right, you get a wide receiver, a tight end, or a defense as a whole.
Yes. Wide receiver, tight end, defense as a whole. All right. I'm hitting up the old Google machine because I have some ideas here.
The Google machine.
But...
Boo! He's cheating.
No cheating. I have some ideas.
Just take one of their defenses, man.
That's what I'm trying to specify it because they had some.
Oh, okay. I have to specify it for the Commanders.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, give me the defense that they had in '82. Then when they won the Super Bowl.
Okay. Give me the... I hate this, that I had the Jets. Okay.
Ding, 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 ding. You run out of time.
Who's the
I'm going
wide
to pick
receivers?
for you.
It's like Santonio Holmes.
Jericho Crotchery.
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, shit. I guess I could. Honestly, I guess I'll
Decker.
take... Yeah, I guess I'll take Brandon Marshall.
Okay, that's not a bad pick.
It's not a bad pick.
He's had a really good career. I think a lot of people just forget his longevity, which is rare.
That was one I'm like, okay.
I'm going to take a defensive individual, Darrelle Revis. Give me the island.
We got Dion versus Darrell at the IDF.
I like it. I like
IDF. Oh, man. I didn't even realize that until I said it out loud.
Bro, this would be some crazy agents.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Moving on. Next one.
Did you know that Darrelle Revis and Deion Sanders work for the IDF?
That's right.
This is my pick here. Okay, let's see. I have a tight end and a head coach left. Now, you know what? Giants have had some pretty good... I'm going to take Parcells. Just all time. And when we say a coach, let me clarify, this is like their entire career. This is not just them with one particular team. Like the same thing if I took Brandon Marshall and he played less for the Jets. It's his career as a whole. All right, you have... Damn, we were in the same spot almost. You got tight end and defense.
So I'm going to go ahead and take the 1986 New York Giants defense with LT.
I don't blame you.
20 and a half sacks.
They've had some really good defenses. All right. This is going to suck because we both need the same position, and you go first next.
Oh, please. Okay, let's see.
So I hope we get a team maybe like
Give me New
Kansas
England.
City. Shit. Oh, God.
All right, give me Greg Olson.
Give me Greg Olson.
All right.
Shit.
I like this. Actually, my team. Okay.
Man. Give me, you know what? He isn't going to be the biggest name, but give me some Jeremy Shockey.
Jeremy Shockey. All right.
Third leg Greg and Jeremy Shockey.
I like my team. My team is pretty...
I like my team too.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Shockey is maybe my most underwhelming player, but I'm not upset. Not upset by that.
All right.
Although I should have, in hindsight, maybe I should have just took Devontae Adams instead of Donald Driver. But I like Donald Driver. I'm not upset by that.
So, my team, here we go. Quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. Running back, Barry Sanders. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs. Wide receiver, Brandon Marshall for the Jets. Tight end, Greg Olson for the Panthers. Defense, 1986 New York Giants. Individual defensive player, Deion Sanders for the Cowboys. And head coach, Joe Gibbs for the Washington Redskins. So that is my team. Logan, what is yours?
All right, I got quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Running back, Emmitt Smith. Wide receiver 1, I have Megatron. Calvin Johnson. Wide receiver 2, I have Donald Driver. Tight end, I got Jeremy Shockey. Defensive individual player, I have Darrelle Revis. Defense, I have the 82 Commanders. And head coach, I have Bill Parcells. This is a closer one, I would say, in my opinion. But, I don't know. Like the current ones, yours is definitely for youth. Not that mine isn't either with a couple of these guys. But, this is a fun game.
I like
this one.
some burners on my squad. Barry Sanders, Tyreek Hill, Deion Sanders. They're gonna be moving. Some big targets.
Do you think that how well do you think Deion Sanders would cover Calvin Johnson?
I don't think they would. I don't feel like that's his like matchup. I mean, I don't know.
Is he going to be on Donald Driver in this game?
I think so.
We're going to say good luck.
Maybe he locks up Calvin Johnson, but nobody really does that.
Let's just say I feel more confident with putting Darrelle Revis in press against Tyreek Hill than I do Deion Sanders trying to guard Calvin Johnson.
Well, brother, I'm running the ball, so I'm running the rock.
Shit, I'm running the ball. I got Emmitt Smith, man.
I'm running the rock. Maybe do some, some wide receiver, creative wide receiver runs here. Maybe I'll just do Wildcat with Tyreek Hill and have him throw it to Aaron Rodgers, who's standing on the sideline talking to the coach.
I'm just saying, we saw some magic with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. Now, you just make Tyreek Hill 6'5", and then that's basically what you got with Calvin Johnson. So, you want to talk about NFL records? Oof, that's scary.
Getting the Jets ruined the whole thing.
Yeah.
No offense, Jets fans, but like,
no, you know what? I'm happy. I got Darrelle Revis. I got an awesome corner.
And I picked Dion early, so it's like I can't do that. But that kind of threw a wrench in the whole operation. We had to really think on the Jets ones. I was like, oh my gosh, like who do I?
You were going best Jets wide receivers all time. I'm gonna make sure I didn't miss anything, or there's like a guy from way back when.
I was thinking of Braylon Edwards. I was like, oh my god. Who else?
I mean, a lot of their, like, in terms of impact for that franchise, most of them were before we were alive.
Yeah. They had some years in the 80s, I think. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely, I would not call it a wide receiver gold mine franchise, that's for sure. All right, man. I mean, did you want to run one more for fun and just make up our own categories, or is two good enough?
I think I'm good on two because I can't really think of a different way to do the current one.
What we could do, what if I have a nomination. I've said it before. What if we did a 2010s decade, all decade?
So, are you locking it 2010 to 2020?
Yes.
Okay.
So, like, if a guy got drafted in 2019, I'm like, he counts, but, yeah. That's up to you. If you want to save that for another pod, I'm for it.
What if we did worst team?
Oh,
no.
Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to draft for you, and you're going to draft for me.
Oh, okay.
And we had to pick, listen, we got to pick a player that's played at least, like, I don't know, 300 snaps in a season for this team. Not like, I got fucking Josh Johnson in there at your quarterback position. You know what I mean?
Okay. So we'll do
this current,
team.
Yes.
All right.
We'll do current as well. We'll narrow it down. Is that fair?
Is it supposed to be they're good, or is it supposed to be...
Oh, I want to pick I'm going to try to pick a garbage roster for you.
All right. Here we go.
All right, let me reset the wheel.
But you can take the Jets out of it, to be honest with you.
No, this is
actually
a gold mine for what we
perfect
want.
Jets thing to do.
This is current teams. I am drafting for you. You are drafting for me. We're going to see who can build more of a shit roster. Exciting. What a segment.
Oh, man. I know. I wonder who your IDF is going to
be. All right. Going for the spin. Do you want the first pick, or do you want me to have the first pick here?
You can go first. Let's see.
Okay. Oh, the Dolphins. This is perfect.
That's incredible.
Oh, let's see. There's so many choices that I can do with this one. I'm definitely not giving you A-Chain. I know that part. I got to give you one of their awesome, talented wide receivers. This one, I will say, we are allowed to take a peek. Um, I'm going to give you. Oh, this is perfect because I know he has it. I'm going to give you Jalen Rager.
Okay. I mean,
You could hear the excitement just leave.
man, this is
Jalen Rager, baby. Your brother's favorite Vikings wide receiver of all time.
I know. What a. Oh my god. Can I give you Quinn Ewers?
Sure.
All right.
Does he have enough snaps?
I don't know. See, I'm on our I can't even say the website name. Our lads. So let me make sure. He probably does not have 300 snaps. So there's no way. So
that'll
maybe,
be, and if it's gonna take, I mean, if I can give you backup quarterbacks if you want. I'll find some fucking scum for you.
let's see. Where does it say? 55 completions. I don't know if it says snaps on here. You know what? He didn't play enough. I'll take him off. I'll take him off. Let me go back to the Dolphins here. I will give you wide receiver Jalen Tolbert.
Nice. Drafted by the Cowboys originally.
Yes. Dak Prescott handcuff.
All right. We are out of that mess.
I got
you get your
Jalen
first
Reagor.
pick.
All right.
We got two Jalens. Look at that.
Ooh. Green Bay. Let's see. Green Bay. Let's see. All right. Looking through it here. There's some options.
This is great. This is perfect.
Do they have to be playing currently? Like, what I mean by that
Yes.
are like they can't
Well-
be suspended.
I mean, if you wanted to be that, you can go that way, but if you go that way, I have the perfect swing back for it. So you decide.
Okay.
I'll let you decide the rules on this one. Because if
Okay.
you're going to give me a suspended player, I can give you one back, or I can give you a guy
All
that's
right.
recovering from injury. Or
I got it. I'm going to give you individual defense player Lucas Van Ness.
okay, I'm going to give you individual defensive player because I know you love him that much. Is Zaire Franklin? You can have him back.
Cool. Okay, so I got a tackle merchant. You just got a draft bust. I got a tackle merchant. All right.
You mean a missed tackle merchant?
Maybe so. Maybe so. All
All
right.
right.
So you got LVN.
Spinning. You were going to give me Josh Jacobs, weren't you?
I certainly was.
I was going to give you Micah Parsons.
Oh, man. All right, cool.
All right.
Is
Let's
it me or
see.
you first?
This is me on
This
this
is you.
one.
Okay. There's a lot to choose from here.
I should have been meaner to you on the defensive. I just wanted to hit you where it hurt a little bit.
It's okay.
I'm going to give you. Man, I'm going to give you tight end Tommy Tremble.
Tommy Tremble. Okay. I'm going to give you wide receiver Xavier Legette.
I've seen him play in person. It's actually super sad that he has not been more productive because he is an athletic freak.
He's just doing his thing with the horses, you know. He's
Yeah.
just doing his thing.
You know what? He can do his things with the horses as long as he's not part of the IDF.
That's all right. Los Angeles Chargers. We got the Chargers here. Okay, let me go to their depth chart. Okay. What is your roster so far? Can you read it back to me?
My roster so far is I got my wide receivers covered: Jalen Tolbert, Xavier Legette, and defensive individual with Luke Van Ness.
Okay. I'm leaning toward. Yeah, I don't think he played enough, though. I was wanting to give you Trey Lance.
That's who I was looking at. He has not played enough.
Yeah.
He is not. He's had 200 career attempts.
All right, so I'll give you Oronde Gadsden.
Okay. That's low blow. No, I like Gadsden. I can't say
He's
that.
all right.
I like it better than Tommy Trimble. I want to see if he's had enough carries. He has not, because he's always fucking hurt. It's going to give you Keaton Mitchell. He's always hurt. Oh, man. Damn it. All right. Where am I going to have to go with this one? I'm going to have to go wide receiver for you. Their wide receiver depth is awful.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Trey Harris, Quentin Johnston, Brennan Thompson, Keandre Lambert Smith. You got Ladd McConkey, Darius Davis. There's dudes on here. I just don't know who they are. I mean,
I'm gonna give you Trey Harris,
okay.
wide receiver. All right. My pick, please. Give me the Jets, and I'm gonna give you Geno or something, please. Or you can just land on my team and let me burn for it. Okay, Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills.
The Bills. All right.
Let's see. Oh, he's still on the roster. He is still on. There's no way. Yes, he is. No way. I'm going to give you current Frank Gore.
What? He
is listed on the depth chart as the 4th running back. I kid you not.
Yeah, that's Frank Gore Jr.
No, I swear to God, I got him pulled up. That's Frank Gore.
What? Hold up.
1983 birthday.
What depth chart are you looking at?
I'm looking at ESPN's 2026
There's no
depth
way.
chart.
That's got to be Frank Gore
I
Jr.
kid you not.
I'm on our lads and I click on Frank Gore Jr. Let's make sure.
It's probably him messing it up, but
Okay,
I just love the fact that I'm like, there's no way ESPN has Frank Gore on their website right now.
Let's see here.
I'm just gonna type it.
It is old. You're right. It is old Frank Gore.
Oh my God!
On ESPN.
That's Frank Gore.
There's no way this
I'm
is
pretty
right.
sure he retired. Yes, he did.
I hate
go,
going on
ESPN.
ESPN
Way to get
because
my hopes
every time
up.
I click on the website, literally an ad plays right in my ear, and I can't focus.
I'm
on
gonna
what
give
I'm
you
doing.
running back Ty Johnson.
Okay. All right. So, the Bills. Let's see. All right. You need what? A quarterback, running back, a defense, and a head coach.
Yes.
Okay.
You can give me Josh Allen if you want.
I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to give you Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. That one hurts a little bit. All right. I understand.
Yeah.
Doing the spin.
All right. Am I up first here?
You are up first.
Atlanta Falcons. Okay. Atlanta Falcons. Okay. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. There's some choices here. Okay. I have a little bit of an idea, but want to make sure. So I'm going to look at. Not too bad. All right. He hasn't played for him yet, but I feel fairly certain. Actually, no. Michael Penix. That's your quarterback.
All right. Your quarterback is Trevor Siemian.
Wait, hold up. How could he? Okay, Tua is not on here? Because Trevor Siemian, he's going to play like no snaps, right? Probably. Well,
I'm talking about career-wise. I was saying like you can't have a guy
300
that's
snaps
like,
in your career. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't
well,
saying
then I could have
like,
taken Trey Lance. Oh man, this.
but he
sucks.
hasn't played 300 snaps career-wise.
I guess, but he's like a 5-year vet. I mean, oh well, whatever. Michael Penix, who knows? I was thinking about maybe giving you Brian Robinson, but I don't know.
Michael Penix. I feel better about that than Trevor Siemian. That's for sure.
Okay, so we took 2 quarterbacks. All right. I need a running back and a defense for you.
Dude, just
give me the Bengals. All right, Ravens.
I'm just going to go ahead. This is my pick. I'm going to give you their new head coach.
Okay. Jesse Minter. I will take that.
It's not a bad one.
Running back. I'm going to give you Justice Hill.
Ugh. Could be worse. A whole lot better.
Justice Hill. Okay.
So we're each... Oh, God. How do we do this? We each have a defense.
Let's just spin twice, whichever one. Is this you get Texans?
I picked last one. So I picked Jesse Minter for you. Then you went. Then you would go first on this one. So I get the Houston Texans defense.
Lucky. Okay.
Oh, baby.
I was really hoping it would stick on the Bengals. All right. Let's see what I got.
Come on, baby. Don't give him anything. I got this in the bag with the defense.
Give me the Seahawks. Okay.
Not bad.
It's all right.
Bad.
I think you may have beaten me here.
Woo! I won something today.
So here is the roster I selected for Logan. Michael Penix at quarterback, Justice Hill at running back, Jalen Reagor at... Wait, no, this is the one you selected for me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Wait, I think I got it all mixed up.
How about this? I got the teams written down.
Yeah.
So here is Kenton's team. Kenton's team is quarterback, Trevor Siemian. Running back, Ty Johnson. Wide receiver, Jalen Reagor. Wide receiver, Trey Harris. Tight end, Tommy Trimble. Defensive individual, Zaire Franklin. Defense as a whole, Tampa. Head coach, Jesse Minter. My team, which was drafted by Kenton, is quarterback, Michael Penix. Running back, Justice Hill. Wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert. Wide receiver, Xavier Legette. Tight end, Gadsden. Defensive individual, Luke Van Ness. Defense as a whole, Texans. Head coach, Joe Brady. And I guess, I don't know if the point of the game is who drafted a worse team or who's winning this. So I'm just going to leave it up to the audience to be like, which team is more ass?
I think your team would beat my team in a one-on-one because of the Texans, and I think you have just a little bit more offensive talent.
Man, you thought you were going to pull a fast one over me with Michael Penix. Homie did not see Trevor Siemian.
Trevor Siemian, my whole offense can't work. I misunderstood the assignment. Whatever.
Come on, man. We had one rule.
I couldn't even keep track of it right. I was mixing up all my lists here.
Mixing up all your drinks.
That's right. Hey, last night. And I think my team is just really bad. It's just really bad.
Yeah.
I could have gave you Quinn Ewers, but I went away from it in the beginning.
He didn't have 300 career snaps, man. That would have been a good pick.
I know.
Huh?
How many? Let's see. He played 4 games. Am I dumb? How do you see the snaps on?
I'll be honest
Pro
with you. I
Football
was looking at
Reference?
like attempts.
Attempts is like
There's no way Quinn Ewers has 300
no.
snaps.
He's had 83 attempts in his career, so he's probably around like 100.
I'd say double it. Yeah. If he did 50-50, passing and running.
I'm just wondering why there's like offensive snaps played. There's got to be.
I don't know. I know they keep track of it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I would be surprised if they did not have it on here. Intended air yards. Oh, well. We know he didn't get 300, so it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, that was fun. The last one was kind of a mess. That's okay. It's allowed to be.
Learning on the job.
All right. Hey, that was fun. I hope everybody enjoyed the wheel. We'll kind of keep messing around some stuff. As everybody knows, hey, we got less than a month for college football.
Yep.
Our fantasy draft is less than a month. You got to eat some hot wings. I don't know what the hell's happening with that. I feel like that's all falling apart, so you might get out of it. I know you're not complaining about that. I'll find a way, but I kid you not. Okay, so this is just for everybody that's listening, if you're even listening at this point. So do you think it's reasonable if me and 10 other people pulled together $10, okay, so we each give $10 as a pool, to watch the man on the other screen cry, throw up, melt, whatever, for buying a whole variety pack of a sauce instead of just being like, well, what if we just buy one? And the guy that said that is the guy that's won the league 2 years in a row. So this, he's definitely not hurting for money in that aspect. Oh,
Can I just say, by the way, really quick, I'm fully down to do the I am down. Like I'm not.
No,
I have never complained
I'll say that
about doing this challenge.
you're ready to
once.
take your lumps for it, but
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, Jacob, stop being a little bitch and just give up $10. That's all I'm asking, man. $10 so we can buy a whole kit and watch you in agony.
What's the Family Guy clip where Chris has a heart attack and Meg asks him like, somebody asks him for a bunch of money when he's pretending to be like the dad or whatever, and then Meg's like, "Hey, Chris, can I have $10 for school?" He's like, $10, $10. Every time they need something at that school, they're asking for $10. So that's Jacob.
Yeah, that's me losing my mind over that. I haven't been able to talk to him to call him out on it yet, so I got to voice my frustration online because some dude doesn't want to give up $10 when this man could give up easily $10. I don't know. I'm like, I don't get it. And that's the other thing, too. He's like, well, what if we just buy one instead of the pack? I'm like, you going to give me $2 then? Is that acceptable? Like, I don't know. Drives me
one
nuts.
wing, get away with it.
Yeah, I'm
Mildly
like, no.
uncomfortable.
No. I'm like, no.
Richard Nixon out, baby.
We watched a man run a mile and drink a gallon of milk, and I had to hear him throw up 4 different times behind me. It was not fun. Not fun for him, for sure. For me, I was like, God, it's all liquid. Ugh. Anyway, got to end on that note. No, thank you, everybody, for listening to the pod. We're going to continue to do our format. You've probably seen it. We've broken up into smaller segments. We're going to continue to do that. We're also going to add in the reels, the shorts as well. And we're just trying to get our videos out there a little bit more. Not that the goal is to topple ESPN like we were talking about earlier. That'd be cool, but that's not happening this week or the next week. But we just want to get it out there. So we appreciate everybody listening. If you could like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, we would greatly appreciate it. You're definitely going to see probably an increase in football content coming up, just prepping for college football and the NFL, whether that's we haven't talked about it, but I'm sure we'll probably do a thing where we're going to pick the division winners of every, NFL team division or something like that. We'll definitely talk fantasy football at some point. We're definitely going to get excited and look at, hey, what's the top 25 coming into college football, big week 1 games, that kind of stuff. So I am very excited for football to be creeping around the corner.
Yeah, me too. I think football season is long overdue. We're very excited. This is going to be a lot of fun for this year. But everybody make sure you like, subscribe like usual. We'll be back here same time next week. That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great day.
Peace.